All right. Of course, we start out with that. All right, welcome to my Epic Space, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are other mediums on which you can enjoy this content. My favorite and the one I suggest you go to is the blog. And the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And I know that's a lot to type in or to remember. So wherever you are indulging in this information, look for an intro, open, more, description, some type of prompt like that. Click on that. Another box will open that will have a link directly to the blog, the free blog. You don't even have to put your email in. You just click the link and it will take you to my FX Buddies, the blog. All right, but there's Rumble, and I have new subscribers or followers, I think they're called, on Rumble. Thank you, and welcome. And Spotify.com has audio and video content depending on your subscription level. Thank you there for the streams. I think that's what they're called there. The plays or the streams. RSS.com has an excellent transcript because I don't speak clearly. I try my best, but yeah. So the transcript is there and it helps. Okay, I think that's it. YouTube, anything that I cover falls under the Fair Use Disclaimer Act because it's for teaching, critique, sharing, or commenting. Look, I am doing this 2 hours later than I normally do, and that stupid thing is still going off. So, yes, I'm talking a little softer than normal, but yeah, so turn me up, turn the volume up. But I did some checking and it should be okay. You should be able to hear it okay. All right, let's see. I believe that's it. It's gonna be boring. There's nothing. I don't have anything. No videos or anything, to put except the last episode. I paste that at the bottom. So it's just gonna be information and not even anything pointing to the RV. There's like 3 articles that I'm really happy about, and the others I posted because they're important. We're watching history. It dawned on me as I was, well, I have no choice because I have the computer on over there. In fact, I don't know if you can hear it, but so I watched. They played the whole thing of our president. He gave a speech, the whole I'm proud to be an American. He played that song. Can you believe that? He played that song, the whole song. And it was funny. It was funny to see them. Well, the Crown Prince, bin Salman, Aziz, all those things you're supposed to say. I think he really likes, either he really likes our president or he thinks our president is hilarious because they laugh so much when the cameras are on anyway. I don't know about when they're off, but at one point, some guy was standing next to the crown prince. They were standing for I'm Proud to Be an American, the song. At some point, the guy looks at him. He probably was thinking, isn't this a long song? Isn't this version longer than normal? But anyway, yeah. So it was interesting. And I'm sure you probably heard he didn't drink the coffee. There was some kind of coffee. Ben Salman drank his. And it looks like a little espresso shot, I guess. I don't know. Glass. I don't know what you call it. It's so tiny. But so he drank his and then he turned it upside down. I thought, well, maybe that's his way of showing, look, I drank it all. And then they brought him another serving, and then he drank his, and our president hadn't drank his yet. And I said he probably was saying a prayer over it. But anyway, so he did finally drink it, and he asked for a refill also. So, but you know how our media is, they like to make mountains out of molehills. But anyway, yeah, so very interesting. Different than the last one. Remember, if you watched the last one, he did that dance with that glowing ball. And there was something, but I left. I actually went out of the house today, so I didn't see that part. But anyway, all right, so let's get into it. So that was the intro. So now we're getting into the articles. We haven't heard too much about Swift, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, there's something here. This is one of the articles I was happy to post. Okay, I'm not excited, but it's interesting. So, is Iraq losing financial freedom? Do they have it? I'm like, really? Anyway, Swift, sanctions, and the U.S. dollar trap. So, Swift and the U.S. Federal Reserve put Iraq at the mercy of the global economy. But I would say the global economy is currently at the mercy of Iraq, right? Or whoever's holding off from not letting this go. We're at their mercy, right? We're at their mercy. Okay, anyway, so this is an economic expert, Hassan, there's his last name, warned on Tuesday that Iraq has become more vulnerable to global economic shocks due to its increasing connection to the international financial system. So they're financial. I mean, they're international. It says right there. He's not even in government. And he's telling us Iraq is connected internationally, especially after joining the global SWIFT system and its direct dealings with the U.S. Federal Reserve. But that happened years ago, right? So I don't know why he's bringing that up, but I find it interesting, and I'm sure there's something we don't know. So the guy, Hassan, told the news agency that Iraq over the past 2 years has strongly entered the global economy. Okay, so they didn't just enter the global economy, they have strongly entered the global economy by activating international bank transfers. And that's the way they're doing the remittances now, right? For the dollar transfers through those international banks with the oversight of Ernst & Young, Oliver Wyman, and those other two companies. Subjecting banks to strict oversight and opening channels with international banks, which has made it vulnerable to any external economic change, whether in oil prices or financial and monetary policies. And there they are together. Those two words, they're often said together than by themselves now. So he goes on and talks about some other stuff, but we'll skip that for time's sake. So he says we're weak, warning of the exacerbation of crises if steps are not taken to strengthen the independence of the Iraqi economy. And we know there are steps that could be taken, right? So he's giving his point of view of what information is in front of him now, right? He pointed out that any breakthrough in the U.S. Iranian negotiations could open the door for Iraq to overcome some obstacles, especially those related to the sanctions imposed on the central bank. This could allow Baghdad to withdraw its funds freely, provide better access to dollars, and perhaps even restore the exchange rate to, I know it says what it says there, but take 2 zeros off and it's 1,200 dinar to $1. and it has been there before. And so I like that. He skipped 13. He said, forget the official rate. We're going below the official rate, below 1310, and we're going to 1200. So I like that. He indicated that this would allow Iraq to import Iranian gas more smoothly, which would contribute to improving the performance of the electricity sector. And they're all affected by that. I think the people in the rich neighborhoods, they just have better generator systems, backup systems that probably kick in, and they probably have maids and house helpers, whatever they call them, for when that does happen. Okay, so here for the third day in a row, here's another person also from Maliki's coalition confirming that Parliament is ready to complete the budget tables if they're sent to them. And he says it's become an absolute necessity due to their connection to the current fiscal year. So, the importance of the tables for the, which schedules, right? But sometimes they're called tables for the Iraqi citizen, they cannot be postponed. So that's why I guess he's one of the ones saying, let's extend 30 days and let's get it done. But it's out of his control, right? It has to come from the Council of Ministers and Sudani. But at least he's putting it out there. Plus, also, it could be an election ploy. Like, look at me, elect me because I'm really fighting for you, right? It could be that too. All right, here, our president says, I want to reach an agreement with Iran. So you could read this if you like. Very short. It's very short. We cannot be enemies with anyone permanently. We are here to strengthen partnerships, even if our differences are broad and deep. And this is our concern with Iran. So he's like, we need to be prosperous, right? So going down 2 paragraphs, I'm reading here. The current offer to Iran will not last forever. Iran can be prosperous, but we will not allow them to possess a new weapon, right? So he is saying that they'll go back to maximum pressure, but also I wanted to show you something that I'm not gonna post, but it's here. Come on, come on. Here is who said this? This lady, whatever her position is. I hope you can't hear that. I didn't know that was going to turn that video on, but no objection to U.S. investment. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, who accompanied our president to Saudi Arabia? Now, this is another one. You may want to pause here and look at these companies. There they are. The companies are at the bottom because they are ones that were invited to do investment there. And they're not, we know all of these. IBM, Boeing, the airline, Coca-Cola, and Google. So yeah. All right. So if you want to read that, you can, but I just wanted to see, look at that. Trying to help you guys make money. Make money, money, make money, money, money. All right. So meanwhile, while all of that glitz and glamour is going on, Sudani steps up preparations for the important event in Baghdad. And it's strange that they would call it that when we already know what it is. Unless, is there an event that's going to be announced at the Arab Summit? Dinar goggles on. But it just, more They want to ensure the success of the summit because it represents an important milestone that reflects Iraq's status and its pivotal and active role in the Arab and regional arenas. So, all that stuff. But I thought it was interesting that they had that title there. So, most of the places that are quoting this, the amount of investment, they're only saying the 600 billion, but there was an agreement which brought a standing ovation. Our president announced, and he really gave kudos to Prince bin Salman. He said, after meeting with Crown Prince, and then he said, Your Crown Prince, I've decided to waive or lift, whatever the word is, sanctions on Syria. And that got a standing ovation. So I don't know what is up with that. I don't care. I just thought it was interesting. So apparently they like Syria or they like this guy. But I was listening to a person not in Dinar land that I just like to listen to her because she likes the Green Party. So clearly she has a different perspective than most people, right? And even she can't stand our president, but she's saying she's surprised. She's surprised that he sidestepped Bibi to get that last hostage. And she's surprised that he's lifting the sanctions off of Syria. And also, she showed a clip of either one of the Saudi princes or ministers. I'm not exactly sure what you call them. And he had some not nice words for what's going on in the four-letter country that sounds like Jaja. But okay, you know what I'm talking about. And it's very rare that you hear the Saudis speak against Ice Cream Land. So behind closed doors, maybe they are getting fed up. Maybe they're the reason our president made the decision to deal directly with whoever was holding, whichever one of the H groups was holding that last prisoner. There's definitely some stuff going on that we're not seeing, and we haven't seen, if not ever, in a long time, right? So yeah. And then of course, okay, so that's the end of that article, but if you want to read it and see, I I don't trust Saudi Arabia because they're on the globalist plan. See this Vision 2030? They also have Vision 2050. They want to make sure their people don't have cars and things, and they're doing everything smart you can think of. 15-minute cities, right? All the things that the globalists want, they are right there to jump on. Oh, matter of fact, I'll show you something later. Okay, so here's another article about the signing. Oh, so the whole thing was the investment is actually $1 trillion, but it's over like 3 years or something like that. So then here's the Crown guy signed security, economic, and technological memorandum of understanding with our president. Now, why is it just an MOU with them? Why can't they do a contract? Because they need the RV, right? It has to be. And people ask me, do I think this trip is affecting the RV or the RV is being held up? Because I believe it's still being used in negotiations, but they have plenty of money, right? We're led to believe the Saudis have plenty of money, plenty of money. Anyway, that's a pastor in Louisiana. Um, and I don't know, do we have money? Are we broke? I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I just wonder, why are they MOUs and not straight contracts? Okay. So you could read that if you like. Here's my one commercial. Buy me a coffee. This will be a live link when the blog is live, and there's the QR code. Okay, and here's my buddy, Samir Al-Nisari. He wrote yet another article. And the Arab Summit in Baghdad and Joint Arab Economic Cooperation. So Iraq, there was some meeting this morning. It had to do with that Arab economic something or another. Iraq it led that also. But I don't think it's in Baghdad. I think it's in another country. So this is it's different, and he doesn't say that the dinar is 10 cents or anything. See here, he's talking about the foreign reserves in gold are sufficient for 140% to cover the local currency. Actually, this should be bolded, but so I'm reading here if you're following along with me. 140% to cover the local currency and cash circulation and to cover imports, the recovery of the Iraqi dinar, and the relative stability of the exchange rate against the U.S. dollar. So if you read any part of this article, this is the part. And maybe I'll go back and bold it. I don't know. All right. Here's another. So this article is about a Saudi American alliance to establish the world's largest critical minerals. They're not rare earth minerals. They're critical minerals. Maybe that's a way to get around China, right? Because China has that agreement that rare earth minerals they have to go through them. 85% of refining has to go through them. So I don't know, we'll see. But you can read that if you like. That's a focus on that. All right. And I think electric vehicles here. Rare metals are vital. Okay, so you can read that part there too. Now here, this is good. And this is another one of those. Back in the day, we would have been really excited to see this. It's kind of small. Here, make that big for the people in the back of the room. That's what the lady I was just talking about, that's what she says. She makes it bigger. The Minister of Finance affirms Iraq's keenness to strengthen its relations with the World Bank. So, geez, this thing, I'm just doing all kinds of stuff. Sorry if you can hear that, I apologize about that. So Tuesday, she met with the World Bank representative to Iraq, Emmanuel Salinas Munoz, indicating that during the meeting, areas of joint cooperation between the two sides were discussed. And there's prospects for strengthening the partnership in vital sectors, including energy, education, and health, the importance of continuing coordination to implement financial and administrative reforms, and blah, 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 right? So, yeah. And there, I like this picture better. So I think that's actually going to be the picture. Then they had another article, pretty much said the same thing. All right. Here, someone's like, hey, how are you paying for this summit? Because I'm sure they're spending big money on the Arab Summit, and it's in the budget. There's an allocation of 500 billion dinars within the other expenditures section. So he's like, get off me. I know what I'm doing. Okay, now why is this here? what was different about? Oh, there's some articles that are saying our president talked bad about Baghdad, but this is what he said, okay? And look at this weird color. So this is that website that puts colors behind their headlines, usually red or yellow. To me, that looks purple. Is it? Is it purple or blue? It doesn't matter, but whatever. Um, Here, the urban and development miracles taking place in Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not. So this is our president speaking in uh, Riyadh, right? Is that in Saudi Arabia at the thing? Plug this. You know the thing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The summit that they had. Okay, so let me start over. The urban and development miracles taking place in Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not the work of self-styled nation builders or other useless liberals who spent trillions of dollars and failed to develop places like Baghdad, Kabul, and many other cities. And where is this? I'm not sure. Is this in Lebanon? I know it's a major city somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So then he goes on to say the birth of the new Middle East is being done by its people themselves who have lived here their entire lives, who are developing their countries with their own sovereignty, who are pursuing their own vision, and who are ensuring that they have their own amazing destiny. So that is what he said, word for word, I guess. I didn't hear it, right? But I saw some other articles where it makes it seem like he's insulting Baghdad, but he's saying it's a shame because they're all oil wealth, right? All oil wealthy nations. They should all be fabulous, and they're not. Okay, let's see. We're almost done. We're at 27 minutes. Yes, we're almost done. Announcing the first U.S. Saudi cooperation in the field of artificial intelligence. Remember how I was saying that Saudi Arabia is, they are quick to jump on everything? But here, NVIDIA, if you don't have NVIDIA, yeah, I know we're down a little bit, but they're going to come back. So they have these little robots in different places, all right? But remember I said they have smart everything. I think Abu Dhabi has the flying taxis, which are self-driven. There's no pilot there. Yeah, but and look at this. You could read this if you'd like. I don't yeah, it I think Nvidia is the only company that's talked about. And he was there. Jensen Huang was in Saudi Arabia. But here, humane. But the way that I mostly see this spelled is with the AI. Humane. And it makes more sense, right? To be with AI. But anyway, it's owned by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, will develop artificial intelligence models and build data center infrastructures. The company's plans include eventually deploying hundreds of thousands, not of people, of the GPUs. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So that's it. That is the last article. So I'm not going to belabor the closing. I'm just going to say, if you like what I bring to you, like, subscribe, join, follow. What else is there? Star? Give it a star. Or, whatever. It's free to do that, right? And also, I heard if you click the share button in YouTube, YouTube doesn't know if you actually share it or not. but they'll give me credit that you clicked on the share button. All right, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. And thank you for listening. I appreciate you. And hang in there. So it looks like it's going to be kind of a boring news week. It's all going to be about the summits. So I'll try to bring what I can and make it as entertaining as I can. All right. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're enjoying this content. And until next time.